Ready, aim, fire.
Hey YouTube, hope everyone's doing great. This is going to be my first video that I make from this YouTube account, and it's going to be my Disc Priest. I would like to give just a little overview of my talents and glyphs I prefer to take. The first talent tree, level 15 one, I prefer to take Spectral Guise. There's really nothing else that's viable. Other two are just heals, and you can't really beat Spectral Guise because you could, like, a melee's chasing you, Spectral Guise, run around, heal up, and you get your little body left over there still. So there's nothing really that can beat that. So it's by far the best. For the level 30 talent tree, there's Body and Soul, Angelic Feather, Phantasm. I like taking Angelic Feather because when you're being trained by melee or something like that, it's easy to run away from them if you've got constant 60% movement speed, versus Body and Soul, which is only whenever you cast Power Word Shield. It gives you 60% increased movement speed for 4 seconds. And Phantasm just removes all movement impairing effects whenever you fade, which fade is on a 30-second cooldown, so you're removing movement impairing effects for once every 30 seconds, which is not that great. Moving on to level 45 talent tree, we have Surge of Light, Mindbender, and Power Word Solace. I can see two talents being pretty good in this tier. Recently started trying out Mindbender because I see a lot of the top European Disc Priests running it, and I can see why. It gives a lot more mana back, and keeping your mana up as a Disc Priest throughout long fights is really important. When you run Mindbender, the Mindbender replaces Shadow Fiend, and it deals, as it says, substantially more damage and generates mana from its attacks, which is on a minute cooldown, versus Shadow Fiend, which is like a 2 or 3 minute cooldown. Surge of Light is also a viable one. Your healing spells have a chance to give you a instant proc flash of heal, so that's really good. Only thing is, it's RNG, so it's hit and miss. Though when you're healing and you get like 4 procs in a row, it's really awesome. But when you're wanting those procs and you're low on mana, they're not that good for you. Moving on to the level 60 talent choices, there's Void Tendrils, Psychic Scream, and Dominate Mind. Pretty much a root, fear, and incapacitate. So Void Tendrils is really good if you're running with somebody who can't root or keep your pills real easily, or if you're running with a druid who cyclones and they'll DR or something like that. Tendrils help to keep melee off you, which melee is a big problem for Disc Priests. Psychic Scream is a 8-second fear, which fears up to 5 people. So it's really good. It's really helpful to fear bombs, everything like that. It's best paired with Spectral Guise. You just Spectral Guise, run in, fear bomb, and everybody gets feared. But everybody knows that it's going to happen, so if you ever Spectral Guise, people are going to be like, oh, Priest is going in for a fear. So you just got to be careful and set it up fairly well, or else you'll get CC'd in the middle. Dominate Mind is, I actually really haven't used it much this expansion. The last expansion was really good, but I see that it DRs with incapacitating effects, and losing control of your player to control another player is good, but you have to call it out and set up with your DPS before you can start doing that. Sorry, I had to get a drink. Moving on to level 75 talent tree, there's Twist of Fate, which whenever you heal a target below 35% health, you deal 15% increased damage and healing. PI, or Power Infusion, which increases your haste and reduces your mana cost of spells by 20%. And Spirit Shell, which converts all your healing to an absorb on a target. Here, usually I run PI, but here lately I've been trying Spirit Shell, just because I really like how you can start off a battle, and even if you're CC'd, your team still looks safe, because if you throw a 100k shield, 100k absorb on your teammate, the other team really struggles to even get them below 100%. PI is really nice, especially if you're trying to go offensive with your team, because you're able to quickly dispel Druid's Hots faster than they're able to put them up, or you're able to throw out that extra penance or that extra smite to kill somebody, or even if you need a spam healing, it's really nice for that. Only problem is, it's priests, mages, anybody who can dispel magic can easily take PI off of you, versus Spirit Shell, which cannot be dispelled. Moving on to the level 90 talent tree, my by far favorite is Divine Star. 1, because it has no cast time, and 2, because, well, really just because it has no cast time, and it's a pretty good heal, honestly. It just shoots out a little ball in front of you, like you just seen, and it heals when it goes out, and it heals everything when it comes back in. Halo is good if you can cast it right, and if you can, like, by casting it right, I mean, if you're able to line up, like, the end of the ring, where the ring will stop, will be your most healing. I'll give you a little example of that real fast. So, you cast it, and the end of the ring right there, healed 21k. So, that's a decent heal, but it's kind of, it's got a higher skill cap than Divine Star does. So, and Cascade is nice, especially if you're in RBGs. It throws a healing ball at somebody, and then it splits and heals all your other teammates. So it's really good too. Moving on to the final talent tier is the level 100 talent tier. My favorite right now is Saving Grace, because having that instant big heal is really nice. Only problem is you get this debuff, which reduces your healing by 15%, stacking up 6 times, which puts it like 40 or like 60 or 70%, which is a really ridiculous number. I'll tell you the exact number in just a second. Oh, 90%, never mind, my bad. Terrible math. 90% healing reduction is huge. 3k absorb. 3k absorb. So, when you're casting Saving Grace, try not to let it get to stack over 2 or 3 times. It doesn't stack for that long. It's 7 seconds. So you can usually let it fall off in time to get some other heals up and then recast it. But it definitely saves matches and does help. Clarity of Will is nice if there's no dispels on the other team, but it's almost 3-second cast time for it. For absorb, it usually absorbs about 70 to 100,000 damage, which is a huge absorb. But the only problem is, if you're running against a priest, mage, anything that can dispel, they can easily take the Clarity Will off. And if you're running against a mage, they can take Clarity Will and like spell steal it, put it back on them, which is a 100k absorb on a DPS on the other team with no cast time. So that's kind of rough. Words of Mending is nice. Whenever you cast heals, it stacks up Word of Mending, and then Prayer of Mending shoots at the person you heal after 10 stacks, which is good. It's passive, so you don't have to worry about no extra cast, no extra ability. The only problem is that it's not really there when you need it. You can set it up, but the healing done by it, or the heals per second and average, is not as good as Saving Grace. So this is my preferred talent setup. This by no means is the best one or the one you should run. It's just my opinion. If you want to take it, use it, give me advice, be much appreciated. But this is what I prefer to run right now. And so far, it's been doing pretty good for me. Especially switching to Spirit Shell. I really like how it works. I may go back to PI some matches, but I do like Spirit Shell right now. Moving on to my glyphs. I'll start with the top one, Glyph of Penance. This one I feel as if is a one that always stays. I will never get rid of Penance because being able to cast Penance while moving is a huge advantage, especially when you're trying to kite melee DPS or kite somebody, because if you're not moving while casting it, you're stuck in one spot, and it kind of sucks because you're easily trained like that. Not only that, but you can cast it on a DPS while moving, and like on the other team, and stacks up Evangelism, which that's for a different video. I'll get into Evangelism and Archangel and all that kind of stuff later on. But moving on to my second, this also increases the mana cost of it by 20%, which is the downfall of it. But running Mindbender allows you to keep your mana back a little bit better, and if you run PI, your mana conservation is even better than it would be without it. So, moving on to my second glyph. Right now, I got Glyph of Inquisitor. This causes, it's pretty much the same thing as Shadow Word Death glyph last expansion, but whenever you Holy Fire, it hits you, it damages you. So it helps with breaking polys, traps, fears, anything that breaks on damage. It helps to remove it, because when somebody casts a poly on you 8 seconds, it's great when you can just break that poly instantly, and then it's DR'd. The next poly is going to be 3 seconds. So that's a huge help for your team. But so Inquisitor is really good. You just gotta make sure you try to get it down, because sometimes it can be a little difficult to use if you're not used to doing that when casting poly. Because if you miss it, then it may just free poly off pretty much. My third glyph, that in the major glyphs that I like to use, is Glyph of Mass Dispel. This glyph is pretty important. I really like it, especially going against mages or paladins who can block and bubble. But also, when you're going against druids who are cycloning your team, you can mass dispel clones off of them, which is a big help. I didn't realize that until lately, or recently. But dispelling cyclones is very nice for your team, and dispelling bubbles and blocks is essential to getting a kill in an arena or whatnot, because if you dispel a mage's block as soon as they use it, hyperthermia is that much longer, because blocks instantly off. So they got no block for like 30 seconds, which is very nice. Some other glyphs that I do like to use is Glyph of Fade, which reduces damage taken by 10%. I usually prefer to use Glyph of Shadow Magic, which makes me immune to silence and interrupt effects, especially when going against melee or somebody who's going to kick me like all the time, interrupt all my spells, make my life hard. So I just run this, 5 seconds, can't be interrupted. It's enough time to get a good Spirit Shell off, or to get Power Word. Actually, Power Word Shell can't be interrupted anyways, but it's a good time to get Prayer Mending, something like that, keep myself from dying. I also run Reflective Shield sometimes, which just reflects 70% of the absorb from your Power Word Shield back to the attacker, which is pretty nice to add a little extra pressure if your team, like, just to help out, because priests don't really have a ton of great glyphs. Weakened Souls is also good, because it reduces your Weakened Souls effect, which is this ability right here. Cannot be affected by Power Word Shield for 8 seconds. If you have the Weakened Souls glyph, it takes 2 seconds off that, so you can cast Power Word Shield 2 seconds earlier than you normally could. So it's pretty helpful, but I usually don't replace any of my current spells with that. So that's it on my glyphs tab, on my major glyphs. The secondary glyphs are kind of just silly. They don't really do nothing, they just change the looks of stuff. It's Levitate, which adds this little cloud. So a little cloud underneath me. So the glyph Levitate does. And the Shackle Undead just makes the your chain undead. Instead of like I don't know what it looks like without the glyph, honestly. But with the glyph, it looks like chains of ice with metal or golden chains around the ice. So it looks pretty nice. But that is it for my Priest patch 6.1.2 Disc Priest Guide. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions or anything you want to leave, it's much appreciated. I'm trying to get this YouTube channel started up, so all the feedback and help is more than appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind, leave a like, subscribe if you like, and I will see you guys around.
Ready, aim, fire.